Every ecosystem on Earth operates on a highly sensitive life support system, and current data shows this system is failing. This biological network is biodiversity, a balance where plants, animals, and microscopic organisms rely on one another for survival. Removing a single species severs a critical connection, triggering a cascade where food sources vanish and predators starve. Biodiversity provides the structural integrity of our entire environment. It is the foundation for the resources we rely on to exist. In Telangana, this network is visible through a rich variety of local flora and fauna that act as regional biological assets. However, recent surveys show that animal populations once common across the state are now signaling a rapid decline. Critically endangered vultures spotted in the Kumaram Bheem Asifabad district serve as a primary indicator of this crash. The disappearance of these apex scavengers demonstrates that the regional ecosystem's natural waste management system is actively breaking down. We can observe a failing node in the Palapitta, or Indian roller, the state bird of Telangana. Shrinking habitats, disappearing food sources, and the widespread use of agricultural insecticides are directly responsible for its diminishing numbers. This creates a biological chain reaction. When insecticides remove insects, insectivores like the Palapitta starve, leaving crops vulnerable to future pest surges. The decline of the state bird serves as a measurable consequence of human agricultural practices short-circuiting the natural food chain. Expanding the scope to an entire habitat reveals larger systemic failures, such as those documented in the Ramagundam forest. Over 70 years, the introduction of thermal power stations and coal mining systematically dismantled the region's dense wildlife heritage. This industrial pressure leads to localized extinction, where apex predators like tigers and leopards have been entirely erased from the landscape. Unchecked industrialization permanently deletes the biological memory of a landscape, leaving the environment sterile and disconnected from its original wildlife. Conservationists track these values globally using the Red Data Book, a scientific ledger that formally categorizes systemic biological risks. It defines endemic species as organisms restricted to a single geographic region, like the kangaroo in Australia, making them highly vulnerable to local habitat shifts. It also monitors invasive alien species, such as the water hyacinth, which crash native ecosystems by rapidly outcompeting local flora for resources. Across every category, endangered, endemic, or invasive, human intervention remains the primary catalyst for ecological imbalance. Addressing these massive failures begins with the human variable, the ability to generate the local data required for large-scale protection. This involves a rigorous scientific process of mapping and identifying the specific variations of flora and fauna in your immediate surroundings. These individual observations aggregate into a regional baseline, allowing us to detect subtle ecological shifts before they trigger macro-level system failures. Localized, consistent auditing by citizens provides the evidence needed to drive institutional conservation and protect the habitats we rely on. While human choices engineered the current crisis, scientific conservation practices and the enforcement of protected sanctuaries prove that ecological damage can be reversed. The goal of these efforts is a stabilized biological network where damaged ecosystems regenerate and diverse species thrive without constant human interference. Active observation and protection of our local environments today is the only way to secure the biological integrity required for our own survival.